My God.
How cool was that?
Yeah.
And we're now joined by Melissa Eng, who actually designed that costume, who you just saw a little bit of. Okay, let's just get into it.
Right.
How cool is this? We have a couple of the pieces. How long did you work on making this?
This actually had a pretty tight amount of time. I think I only had about 2 weeks actually to do the building.
2 weeks?
Yeah,
Wow.
That feels short.
yeah, because I had to fit it in between some other work. So
Sure.
it had to. I'd say it was possible because of some really helpful 3D printing. Otherwise, I'd be dying.
Yeah, speaking of 3D printing, you're wearing some pretty incredible armor yourself.
Thank
You
you.
designed this whole thing?
Yes. So this is completely original design.
That is
How
very
many
cool.
layers are in there? Because it seems, just like looking at it, it looks like 3 or 4 layers.
Can you guess how heavy this is?
800 pounds. You are very strong.
So close. 8 pounds.
8 pounds.
So yeah.
That's better. That's
My jeans weigh 8 pounds.
I beat it. 8 pounds. So this is actually not that many layers. This is just a breastplate, a backplate, the fold, and then everything else comes together and is fully articulated.
So what brought you to 3D printing? I mean, did you start from a place of cosplay? Did you start from a place of 3D printing and they came together that way?
Well, cosplay, I've never really done cosplay.
Oh, really?
I stumbled into 3D printing completely out of the blue a few years ago by chance, and it was really my last chance to try to be an artist, and I wanted to test myself to see whether or not I could make something amazing that could inspire others and make other people happy and make myself happy. And
That's awesome.
it was kind of like a 3-month test to see if whether or not I could do it, and I had no experience in 3D modeling or 3D printing. And I tortured myself because I believed there might be something possible, and I'm still doing it, so I guess I'm okay.
Yeah,
I guess I'm okay.
I think you're doing a lot better than okay.
Okay.
So how many pieces is the helmet here?
The helmet itself, it's a few different 3D printed pieces. There's this main helmet piece. There's this mask. This jaw was separate. This comb was separate, and these detail parts here.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
The lights are not all lit here. The lights aren't all turned on, and these also glow. These also light up. But
That
these are
is so
also
cool.
separate pieces, and these are separate pieces.
Here, maybe we can turn it just this way.
So you can see
So you guys
the
can
detail.
get a good look at the detail. But on the fin there, that is so cool.
So this one, you can imagine, is a lot more pieces.
Right. How many pieces is this?
How many pieces can you count on camera?
A lot.
Yeah. So you can think every
Yeah.
single piece was an
Every
individual,
joint,
and this
right.
is impact resistant. So except not the paint finish, but it's fully articulated. So it was
so
constructed
cool.
with armor construction in mind. It wasn't just glued. It's put in there so it's sturdy.
Yeah, it does feel very sturdy. And then I believe, how do I?
Turn it on.
It lights up. That is so cool. I love that. That is just really,
Yeah.
really
And with time constraints and being able to 3D print it, put it together, and still hopefully make something that's convincingly armor. It was a fun time.
Oh, go ahead.
What this obvious I don't know anything about 3D printing. Is this paint on here, or is this actually what was printed, like the material itself that was printed?
This is fully 3D printed. A lot of these were, for example, parts of this was printed, a master copy, but because of some materials I didn't have, again, time, this one had to be recast in something more semi-rigid. This is an original print, as is this and this. So I'd say majority is a full 3D print here, especially these detailed parts, which would have taken a long time to get a symmetrical hand sculpt, for example. But being able to print it in such a high resolution after a few hours really was a lifesaver.
And then what is the paint?
The paint, it is a pearlescent leather paint.
Pearlescent.
Yes, it's
Ooh.
flexible, doesn't crack. So I think it should be a cosplayer's best friend.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you've worn body paint before, you know that.
I would not know, but
Yeah.
I imagine, yeah.
But when you are creating something that's 3D printed, do you need to know a ton about engineering? Do you have to really engineer the whole sort of costume?
Engineering, Again, like honestly, I went into 3D printing with zero experience. I did not have that background at all. So when I started designing costumes, it was, for me, what was most important was understanding the actual work and research behind real armor design.
Cool.
So, for example, this that you see here is, I have worked with an armor consultant and a real medieval armor consultant. And because if you think about why we love medieval armor, it's because it makes sense. It's convincing because it works. Why is it that when we see this armor in movies and film, it's so mind-blowing to us because it's believable. So I think it really comes back down to understanding the research of understanding how it really works. And that's how we can more easily make amazing costumes. But that's just what I believe.
Yeah. So are you doing this, like, are you getting commissions from people, or are you starting to get out there?
Yeah.
Have you had any other Marvel requests so far?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe not.
Maybe
I don't know. You have to wait and
We'll
see.
see.
Is there a particular armor in the Marvel world or about that you would just love to sort of sink your teeth into artistically?
To play around with and everything, I'd have to say I would love to take a shot at something like Thor's armor in the new Ragnarok trailer.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely
I
be
mean, it's
really
already
cool.
amazing and beautiful, and I would never want to butcher it or anything, but if I could, that would be the one.
I feel like we have to do a commission for you to make a Strife armor for me. Strife
Oh,
is
yes.
like the evil Cable, and
Yeah.
his armor is like spikes.
And
his
like a
helmet
big
comes up like
helmet.
this. It's really cool. It's weird. It's very 90s.
It's very
I would wear
90s.
that every day on my way to
To
school.
work.
Yep. Be like the
In the
happiest
Marvel
boy.
offices.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. I'm like, what armor would I
Yeah,
want?
that's a good question.
See, the first thing I think of is like that Dark Phoenix armor from
Yeah.
the big black.
Avengers vs. X-Men?
No, it was from a game. I think it was from one of our past games that Marvel Avengers Alliance. That she has like huge, big shoulder pads
Cool.
and pieces, and it's a very black colored Phoenix.
Yeah, there would be a really cool one. Have you ever, I guess you have done cloth, but so Mr. Sinister has this really cool cape that comes
Oh,
up
yeah, with the
and
big
then
arch.
comes down, and it's like starts as this hard plastic, but that ends as cloth almost, and it flows behind him, but it stays rigid up here. That's a challenge. I
That's
would
crazy, yeah.
imagine. Yeah.
That would be crazy fun, yeah.
So what was your background and like what got you so excited about the sort of prospect of 3D printing?
My background was in media and public relations.
Oh, cool.
So,
I was hoping you were going to say accountant.
Yeah.
sure.
And then I was like, you know, it would be dope. Armors.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, one day I was kind of like, I really love masks and armor, and
That's awesome.
But I was never really allowed to pursue art most of my life, which only wants you to go for it more,
Sure.
right?
Oh, totally, yeah.
And that's something I just simply couldn't ignore. And 3D printing was honestly the only thing I didn't try over all the years of my life.
Yeah.
I tried all the different mediums. 3D printing was that one.
You are basically Riri Williams. Because think about it, she's just like, I'm going to make some Iron Man armor. And then she does. And that's exactly what you did. That's like so amazingly, strangely full circle.
Yeah. Are you local? Are you in New York City?
I'm in New York, in Queens.
Have you been to the Met?
Yes.
The Met has great
Of course.
armor, so I
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
imagine
I
it's a
think
great
you
place to go
must.
for inspiration.
Absolute must, yeah.
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 Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite places.
Yeah.
Just walking around that area.
Yeah.
Super.
It's amazing design. It's breathtaking.
Yeah.
Well, where can fans find you online?
You can find me at lumecluster, so it's at LUMECLUSTER.
Very cool. And do you take commissions?
I do, but
The
it will
general
depend. It will depend. It
So
will,
you're choosy.
maybe.
Very cool.
Depends
I
on
like it.
time. It depends on
Sure.
time, and
Definitely.
it depends on the type of project. Because a lot of people, they want a lot of crazy things, and I love that. But there's also what we can do in the possible realm.
That makes a lot of sense.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us
Thank
here.
Thank you so much.